Hi, I'm time-lapse photographer Drew Geraci. I specialize in HDR motion-controlled time-lapse. You might have seen my work before. I created the opening sequence to House of Cards on Netflix. The role of color in my content is super important because it helps convey a message. It can be something that's good, it can be something that's bad, but color is super important because it really helps tell the story that you want to tell. As a cinematographer, HDR has really opened up the avenues that I can do when it comes to creating and shooting. So I can open up those shadows, those midtones, and those highlights, really bring them back to an area that's more closely resembles what you see with the naked eye, and it really allows you to, again, tell the story more accurately and give you more creative control when you're in the post-production process. The story that we're working with here is being able to go out and escape to nature. With everything that's happening in the world right now, I wanted to create a piece that really allowed people to escape away from their homes, away from their computers, to view the natural wonders that are out there. We went out to the Southwest, capturing the fog and the clouds and the atmosphere. Really allowed us to not only capture a diverse sense of HDR footage, but also tell the story of how our world is changing and how we can relate to that through imagery and watching it and being taken away from our current state of affairs. When it comes to time-lapse photography, there's never a guarantee that you're gonna have the best weather. And when we first got out there, it was raining and it was dreary, but it really opened up the avenue for me to think outside the box and say, hey, you know what? There's all these wonderful clouds, there's all this fog, let's capture that instead. There's one scene in particular that I think is really pivotal to the production that we're shooting, and that's when the sun was rising right behind this mountain, and it really captured and cast a nice highlight on the tops of these clouds, but at the same time, below, the shadows and the midtones were very dark. So being able to utilize HDR technology, we're able to create a very balanced image that allows us to see both those beautiful highlights and those shadows and midtones. When it comes to the post-production process for this project, I knew going into it that I would have to go home and take all this imagery that we collected and really create something that was magical. Utilizing Dell's new HDR monitor has just really allowed me as a film director to really get into the imagery, get into the edit, and create something that's just really exciting and really wonderful to watch. Prior to getting this monitor, my pain points really were not being able to utilize a true HDR monitor. Now, I've had plenty of monitors in the past that were quote unquote HDR, but it really just didn't convey the image correctly. It's really just been a huge eye-opening experience to see what I've really been missing in the HDR realm from the other technology I was using in the past. Well, I wish every monitor I had was self-calibrating, but currently I only have the UP3221Q, and it really is saving so much time when it comes to not having to actually whip out the color calibrator, throw it on the monitor, and then wait the time that it takes to do it. This one just does it all in one simple swoop. In the past, I'd used a lot of different monitor manufacturers, and trying to find one that actually had everything that I needed was difficult. And when I got to Dell and when I started talking with them about their monitors, they just seemed to have the best variety and solutions for what I needed, and I've been using them ever since. For anyone who's looking to do HDR, have that self-color calibration, and have perfect color, this is definitely the monitor to get. I would tell anybody that's actually interested in doing this to get this monitor because it really just helps elevate your craft, and it really can help take your post-production processing to a whole nother level.